Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Howard Dalton. I'd like to call the Ascension Parish Board of Adjustments meeting to order. We'll commence with roll call of members. Mr. Brad Walker, Vice Chairman.
Present.
Ms. Kathy Desideer.
Present.
Mr. Jim Cecil.
Present.
Mr. William Lee.
Present.
Mr. Tyler Goo.
Present.
Ms. Adrienne Conish.
Present.
We'll move on to the public comment period. This is where a person or a citizen could speak to the operation of this board. This would not be an opportunity to speak to a given agenda item that's before us tonight. Does anyone wish to speak? There appearing to be none, we'll move on to the minutes of April 28, 2009.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of April 28, 2009.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Jim Cecil to accept, seconded by Mr. Brad Walker to accept the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The minutes of April 28, 2009 are accepted. Our next item would be the written decisions for April 2008.
I'd like to make the motion to accept the written decision of April 28, 2009.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Jim Cecil to accept the written decisions of April 28, seconded by Mr. Brad Walker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The written decisions are accepted. We'll move into consideration of our variances. A little bit of ground rule information. When I announce your particular item, please come forward, sign in over here at the corner of the desk. When you approach the podium, state your name and the reason for your variance request. You'll have 3 minutes to state your case, after which we will listen to any opposition, and then there'll be another opportunity for any rebuttals. Having said that, we'll start off with the zoning view, ID 2006, located on the west side of South Hodgson Road, approximately 3,700 foot south of LA Highway 30. Request a variance of the Ascension Parish Development Code for secondary family residences.
Good evening. My name is Matteo Avocado. I live at 9143 South Hodgson Road. I'm requesting a variance to allow my brother to move on to my property. He's been living away for the past 43 years, and he's wanting to come back home to where the family's at. This piece of property is 55 acres. We've got 540 feet of frontage. Other than by definition, he's not my immediate brother, immediate family. We're not going to have any issues with setback, servitudes, or encroachment on property lines or anything like that. The secondary residence is going to be set back 275 feet from the road. The servitude for utilities, whatever is required, 10, 15 feet is not an issue, because we're going to be a good 50 foot from the property line, which would be the south-east-west property line. The property as it exists now, there's only a residence on the south side of my property, and this is some of the Hodgson family, Jerry Tomplay, her son and daughter live there. Included in my application was a letter of no objection from them. Directly across the street from me is their sister, Mrs. Tomplay's sister. That's about 50, 75 acres, and it's totally undeveloped. The property on the north side of my property is undeveloped. There's a 16-acre strip of land that's totally undeveloped before you run into any other houses. The next 3 houses actually came off of the family property. It was sold during probate and stuff like that. So that's what I'm asking for, is a variance because he's not immediate family. Density obviously is not a problem, two houses on 55 acres. So that's what I have.
Are there any questions from the board members of this applicant?
None whatsoever.
Motion to open public hearing.
Second.
The public hearing is open. Sir, if you'll step aside just for a second, please. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this variance request?
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Right, there appearing to be none, sir. Does anyone have any additional comments, questions of this applicant?
I'll make a motion with the stipulation that it cannot be turned into a rental property if his brother's no longer in this mobile home. Other than that, I'll grant the variance with the.
Second it.
I second, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Brad Walker to grant it with the stipulation that it not be
A rental property.
a rental property, seconded by Mr. Ty Legoo. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, like sign, sir. Your variance is granted. The next item on our agenda is zoning review 2000. Wait a minute, I'm out of order. 2007, Lot 9A and 9B of the Country Place subdivision for Roy Domingue?
Domain.
Domain, located on the south side of River Highlands Drive, approximately 6,500 feet east of LA Highway 22. Purpose, intent, setback, and yard requirements by resident of the thing. Sir, speak your name and present your case, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Roy Domain, resident here in Gonzales, and my request is made in the form of a PowerPoint presentation, and the gentleman's going to bring it up on the screen, and we can be able to follow through, and I do know that we have a hard copy for you as well. See if we get it back. Let me get it over to the first slide if we could, please. Not the first one, actually, Wayne. Okay. This is a variance request. As you see, my name is Roy Domain Jr. The need for raised pier foundations. The hardship to resolve is to reduce the required frontage on the property from 100 to 90 and to reduce the required lot size of an acre to approximately 0.66 of an acre. Here is the properties of the 2 acres requesting to be divided into the 3 parcels. What is the hardship? Since Hurricane Katrina, many maps and local ordinances were revised with higher required building elevations, BFEs, increasing the need for affordable, durable, and sustainable raised foundation systems in rebuilding and in new development. You can see here, this is currently something that has been going on in our parish over the last couple of months. Take note of the height of what this foundation is. Look at the shed roofs in the background. Look at the mobile home right in front of this person's property. Okay, what are his neighbors thinking about this? Let's see, we need to look at the height this owner has to build his slab. And of course, what are his neighbors thinking about? This is directly across the street. The gentleman has already had a brick wall built. Here, would he have to build his wall even higher? This is the site to the left, which has been built up. Here is the neighbor to the right. If you look very carefully, you'll see that the height of this gentleman's slab is as high as the gentleman's pickup truck, which is under the carport. Okay? This is another location in our parish. A home that's been there probably 20 years. Now, on the next adjoining piece of property, here's another neighbor coming through. Built a hill, a mound of dirt, and of course, the issues are, what is the neighbor thinking about this? Okay? Another example of something that's been done very recently in our parish is building up. So what is the hardship? Okay? The hardship on others. Homes that are built on fill displace floodwaters onto adjacent properties. Open foundations do not displace the floodwaters and also allow a higher velocity of water to flow under the structure. In a case like this, water would be able to flow through. Okay? The hardship on others is that building a home on a chain wall or a stem wall is defined in our current code. FEMA has specific requirements on these foundations and how water must be able to flow. But even though we have a chain wall, if you can imagine, you put a house and you put a chain around it, a wall around it, we still have water that is accumulated underneath, and we're having issues with some moisture accumulation, which then affects the performance of the house with mildew, mold, etc. Okay? So when you have a house that has a chain wall, there are some real specifics that the code does define on draining them and sloping them, but we're having some difficulties with that in reality in this part of South Louisiana. Okay? Basically, FEMA is saying we want homes in the flood zones to be built where floodwaters are allowed to flow through instead of being hindered, again, an open pier type foundation. So what is the hardship? Currently, there are no prescriptive code provisions for the pier and beam foundations in the International Residential Code adopted by Louisiana in 2007, January of 2007. Okay? Many think it's more expensive. The deal is this. Each house has to be engineered separately to determine how to support itself. What is the hardship? The effort to address this need for prescriptive pier and beam foundation provisions in Louisiana's building code was begun under the leadership of the late Kurt McCarty, who was the former executive officer of Louisiana State University Uniform Construction Code Council. Okay? In response to Mr. McCarty's initiative and the prevalent need for a regional housing industry for uniform codes for the construction of homes on piers, many have risen to resolve this need. Our local building official, Mr. Laverne Bourgeois, is very familiar with the hardships of the new codes that have placed on builders and owners trying to build in the high wind and flood zone areas. He also serves on this state code council. This is why we need a classroom to demonstrate, to learn from, and teach others. The need to demonstrate is, one, how 3 types of foundations can be done cost effectively, 3 different types, and teach others how it is done, what was learned, what was the most cost effective, how did we meet the code, the engineering, etc., and teach and share those methods. Okay? Who's going to lead this? Who's going to lead us with this? The American Plywood Association, which is the Engineered Wood Association, and the Southern Forest Products Association have developed many of the techniques. Their need is a field classroom to build the products that work. You'll see an attached letter in your paperwork from Mr. Paul with the APA. Okay? I won't read his letter, but you can go through those comments that support. Okay? Who will lead? The Louisiana Home Builders Association and the Capital Region Builders Association have risen to the task. Builders want to learn and lead the way, but need to know first. Also, in the education side of it, the LHBA and the LSU Ag Center Extension are working with state and national partners to create this learning laboratory demonstration site using the model prescriptive guidelines, okay? Attached, you will also see a letter from Ms. Pat Skinner of the LSU Ag Center, who was also gracious enough to join us this evening, along with the lady from the Ag Center who represents our local parish, Ms. Sherry Fair.
Mr. Domain, we need to move this along. You're over your allotted time, so can you summation, please?
Summation is, we can solve this hardship on behalf of the builders. In fact, I could skip one slide if you would. We can solve the hardship. On behalf of the builders in Louisiana, I desire to build these 3 model homes on piers, demonstrating alternative methods, including features required for hurricane and flood zones. These lots require this. The homes also feature progressive levels of new green building standards, which are there to help make homes more energy efficient, healthy, and environmentally sound. Of course, LSU is going to assist us on this. Each learning lab will have multiple open house events every 2 weeks, 2 days in a row, a period of 12 months, so that people, not only from South Louisiana, but from across the state, are going to be a big part of this. Okay? Here's a shot of what the property currently looks at, neighboring, adjoining, okay? You can help me solve this hardship because I asked you to grant me this variance, allowing us to build these 3 homes next to each other to benefit our fellow residents of Ascension and Louisiana. Thank you very much.
Do the board members have any questions of this applicant?
I do have a question. You say after the showcasing period, the homes will be sold. Will they remain on the property, or will they be sold and required to be moved?
No, the homes would be built on the property as permanent structures. We're going to go through the work of getting them into the foundation, built properly, structurally sound, to withstand the new wind provision, which we're, in that zone, we're between the 110 and 120 mile an hour wind provision.
Any other questions by the board members?
Can we hear staff's recommendation on it? On why? I know the recommendation, but what was the reason?
After Mr. Domain presented this at, I believe it was 2 or 3 board meetings ago, the request was denied, and he came to our office to give us this presentation, more or less. And based on our in-house discussion, it just seems like this is a project that's going to help more than it's going to hurt. It's going to help people learn that building on piers isn't more expensive. It's a better answer to solving flooding issues in the parish. You know, a vast majority of this parish is within the 100-year flood zone, and if we could get builders out there recognizing that fact and seeing that there are better ways to do this, I really think it's to the benefit of the parish. When you go out and you visit the site, which we did, the difference of 12 feet across the frontage of 3 lots is negligible. You will not be able to tell that just driving down the street. Therefore, we didn't think that this variance was a problem. We didn't have all the homework and background information that you guys got at this meeting, and we do think that this is a good project for Ascension Parish.
Can we open the public hearing?
Motion open public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is open. Does anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against this variance request? Close the public hearing.
Hold on.
Oh, there is? Okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
And join me here, Cherie. Good evening, I'm Pat Skinner with the LSU Ag Center. I work at the state office, which is on the campus in Baton Rouge. We have actually been working with Roy for a long time. He worked on our Louisiana House project. I've worked with him with some FEMA funding to develop hurricane-resistant home improvement and construction materials, which we continue to use across the South in this hurricane recovery period. And he's just very good at putting together models and homes that serve well as instructional showcases. And we really look forward to being able to work with him on this project. We also have worked with the other partners in this on raised floor construction training, and I can tell you, having the house there to do it, to go from the classroom to these houses and see the various construction types would be really good for the community. And Cherie is our local agent, Cherie Fair, and would be very involved in this. I'd just like to give her a couple of minutes.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Have you ever seen an actually completed house?
A completed house?
Completed house? This gentleman has completed a home already?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and you stand behind the quality of build of these?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm Cherie Fair, and I'm one of the local agents here, Extension Service agents here in the parish, and I know some of y'all throughout the years, but I've been working with Louisiana House and Roy, and he's been our builder for it, and it's our showcase house. It's an educational tool, which is what he's essentially using these 3 homes for, to teach people proper ways to build, safe ways, efficient, cost-efficient ways that will actually help us meet our needs and provide safer places to live. I'm going to leave you some of these. We've got cards opening, explaining an open house about La House, where you can go. It's a tool where you can go and you can see the different building techniques. And Roy is our builder on the home, so you can actually go see the quality of his construction. And it's very educational, as it's meant to be, and very informative. Any questions? I'll leave these there.
I guess my question would be, because there's comments in here that it requires that there be 3 homes built.
Right.
Can you kind of explain the need for 3 versus 2, or is there a different foundation? Is that?
My understanding is that it's all going to be raised, but he's going to be showcasing 3 different ways to do it.
Okay.
Because what we've learned with Louisiana House and what he has, because he's the contractor, is there's a bunch of different ways to do things. And some are more energy efficient, and some are more cost effective. And depending on your price point, you might want to go one way or the other. And he's doing different levels of green, and we all want to build homes that are sustainable, easy to live in, healthy, affordable. You know, things of these nature, and his homes feature that. Any questions?
Does anyone else wish to speak for or against this variance request? Can we close the public hearing?
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is closed. Are there any additional comments, questions, or concern from board members?
I have one comment. In our prior case here, we mentioned that there's an exception for conservation districts where the density requirement can be one secondary single-family home per half acre. And it's a relaxed density requirement, which would tend to say that the number of homes per acre that he's talking about fits into the relaxed conservation district code, for what it's worth.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion that we go ahead and approve as written. I feel more comfortable after having LSU and the Extension Office verify that the need is more of an educational one than a financial one.
I'll second that motion.
And we have a motion by Ms. Kathy Desideer to approve as written, seconded by Mr. Ty Legoo. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Sir, the variance is granted. Moving right along, our next agenda item is zoning review 2008, lot 117A, River Highland for Joe Moore, located on the south side of River Highlands Drive, approximately 65. I read the wrong thing, didn't I? Previously, I'm sorry. 6,500 feet east of Highway 22. Sorry about that. I got confused earlier, I think. Why didn't somebody tell me?
You were doing such a wonderful job at it.
Thank you, Jim.
We just tuned you out.
Good old time.
I can't believe you guys let me do that. Thanks, buddies.
Good evening, my name's Joe Moore. I'm building a house at River Highlands Drive down on the diversion, and my request tonight is for a 10-foot variance on the setback. I have some photographs to better explain what you were handed out by the Planning Commission members, so I'll try to put them on the overhead here.
Put them under the overhead there and they should come up.
Hey.
This is River Highlands Drive off of Highway 22, and you can see the road does make a bend here, which does allow for a little bit better frontage than the rest of the lots down there have, and that's the reason for the variance request, because I have actually 36 feet to the curb. This is what the lot currently looks like. In the back is the wetlands conservation area, and that's the main reason for asking for the moving of the house up 10 feet. There are 12 additional lots down River Highlands Road. Right next to the lot is a double boat slip, and you can see here the back area behind the boat slip is a wetlands area. On the plot plan that I've already submitted for your file, you'll see where the normal setback would be right here, and I'm asking for it to be moved up 10 feet. The house is 300 feet above the minimum. The minimum there is 3,000 square feet, and the first floor is 2,400, so the house is rather large for the lot. But it is a very big lot. It's just that the wetlands area is encroaching on it in the back.
Quick question. Why was it chose to move up versus shrinking the size of the house?
Well, this particular lot is a premium lot. There are 11 lots, and the reason is upon resale of the house eventually, it will be a premium lot. It's the only one of the 12 that has that feature, and I'm actually going to be living in the house, and then at some point in time in the future, I plan on selling it to recoup my investment for the expense of the boat slip. That was the main reason, plus the conservation area in the back. By moving it up, it actually gives a little bit of a backyard for the property.
Right, but you're still going to shrink it and get the same effect, correct?
If I wanted to build a smaller house, that's correct. But my need is for this size house. And it is the largest lot of the 12. That's the other reason I chose this lot. Right next to the lot is a brand-new investment that was made by the property owners. It represents an investment of $200,000. It's a private marina that's just been completed, and it adjoins this property. And I was involved in the development of that along with the current owners. And these are the covered boat slips. You don't have this in your file, but you can see again the wetlands area there behind. And we don't want to detract from the the pristine nature of this area, because the people moving there, they're going to want this same character to remain as is. Also, I will mention that in the first and second filings of River Highlands, the setbacks were 25 feet. It's just in this last filing that it was changed. So if you drive down River Highlands now, the ones on the left, they're already at what I'm requesting. It's just in this last filing that it was changed.
Is there a house that's on the other side of you already?
Yes, the owner's actually here tonight.
Okay,
Yes.
fine.
Yeah, and they're right up against it, but I think on that side, I'm not sure, I think it's 25 feet.
Okay, so your neighbor's house got a 25-foot setback also?
There
Is that
is
what you're
nothing
telling
beside
me?
me. There's one across the street.
Oh, okay, so there's
Yeah.
not a house
No.
next
In fact,
to
I own the lot next door too, and 2 other lots, so I own the adjoining 3 lots as well.
Now, my question was, though, you said that this is the largest lot, and yet you're still trying to ask for a variance to make the house even bigger on this lot.
Well, it's
What
not
sizes are the other houses going to be on the other lots?
The other lots get progressively smaller, and there is a minimum on this filing of 2,000 square feet. So I'm only building a 300 square foot larger than the minimum as far as the slab goes. So, but this is a very choice lot. It's right there at the marina, and it has the wetlands conservation area right there behind it. I don't intend to do this on the one next door,
Well,
however.
I guess that you were precipitating our
Yeah.
line of thinking.
Well, the reason is
that-
it's just this one lot that has this unique circumstances, and I will be building on the lot next door, and I don't want to detract from it or its value or its character. Probably have to go 2-story on some of the lots further down, because some of them do get progressively smaller as we go.
So you know what the reasoning is for the change in the setback? Is it a restriction?
It's in the covenants, and that's why, I'm here tonight to request a variance just on this one house.
You know, you said initially the houses on the other side of the street were under the original setback, and it's been changed on the second filing.
This is the third filing.
Third filing.
The other ones in the front, they're on the diversion, and I think that it's narrower there. And so they had the same problem I do, only it was in the very beginning of the development. They were too close to the water, so all of those are up closer to the road. So it really won't change the character of the view. Also, the road does bend out at this particular location, right after you cross over the bridge and enter Ascension Parish. This particular lot has extra room on it, which would allow for this to happen on this one particular lot. The other lots may not have that situation.
But I think what we're trying to determine is, will this cause another hardship for the lots further down? If this is the first lot determining, and we're keeping it at a 16-foot build line, basically, then
The
all the rest of them should be coming in axe because they want to be level with this one.
Probably not, because I'm going to be the developer, and I'll be building 2,000 to 2,100 square foot homes. And as we go further down, the lots do get progressively smaller, but we can meet the 2,000 square foot requirement by building 2-story houses on those lots.
But this is also a 2-story, correct?
Yes, sir, it is. Mhm.
Any additional?
I have one question. Have you contacted the Corps of Engineers about building within a wetland protected area?
Well, the house itself is not in the wetland area. The area behind it and the marina, all those permits were granted years ago, and they've been, actually worked with the Corps of Engineers to develop this project in the 12 lots and to build the marina. In fact, the owners are here tonight, and when you have public comment, I'm sure they'll be glad to answer any other questions you may have in that regard. But no, that's one of the reasons why I want to move the house up. That's the main reason, is because I don't want to get the house too close to the, there's a 36,000 acre wetlands area directly behind this property. And that's the primary reason I'm here tonight. I don't want to put the house right up against that. And of course, we still have the 15-foot setback, but I'd like to be 25 foot from that back property line.
A little help on the geography. You've got, the site plan says River Landing Drive is what your
It's
house is
River
on.
Highlands Drive?
Well, it said River Landing, and I thought it might be
Oh,
a
I'm
different.
sorry.
What if that was a new street
mistake on the,
My Google Quest couldn't find.
yeah, I'm sorry. It's River Highlands Drive, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
it is, okay.
Yeah.
Any other board member questions?
Motion to open public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is open. This is where someone can speak for or against. Please sign in and state your name, ma'am.
Hey, I'm Linnell Johnson. I am the previous landowner. My husband and I are both here tonight. Kind of give you a little bit of history so you'll know you're asking some questions I think I might be able to answer a little bit better for you. In your package, you'll see Lot 177A. Give you some history. I've been here before. It's probably been about a year or two ago. The previous developer, before we owned it, there was a canal that ran. We called everything down River Highlands the left side and the right side of the road. So I'm going to refer to this lot as the right side of the road. There was a canal here that ran behind these lots all the way as far as the road ended. What had happened previously in 2001, 2, and 3, before we built it, there was a question from the neighbors as to the size of the houses that could be built on the right side of the road. What's happened in the front, what I call the front of our neighborhood, which is actually Livingston Parish, from the first 2 filings of River Highlands, as well as Bayou Terrace, these lots got real small and people started building little sheds and little garages and storing boat trailers, and it's become an eyesore to the rest of the people in the neighborhood. What we decided to do, they were afraid that this was going to happen on the right side of the road where I'm at, in the 3rd filing here. What we did is we purchased this property from the previous developer to ensure that this didn't happen. The other reason was the previous developer was contemplating building 1,200 square foot houses on these lots across the street from my home, which is 4,100 square feet. Y'all know what that does to your property value. It extremely diminishes my property value, yet it helps a 1,200 square foot home. So we purchased the property from him, we cleaned it up, we went to the Corps of Engineers, and yes, all your permits are in place. All this was done with the Corps of Engineers, that's all done, and we fulfilled their obligations. This one particular lot, if you saw in this picture he showed you just a few minutes ago, this road does make a curvature. And when you come in, it kind of comes in and bows to your left and then cuts back to your right again. With this house needs to be a big house. It needs to be a nice house. It's sitting next to a very large project here that we've been working on for years. Some of the concern from the neighbors when we started this project was smaller houses. The original square footage requirement by the neighborhood was 1,200 square feet. To accommodate the rest of our neighbors in our neighborhood, we upped it to 1,900 to 2,000 square foot. It's a little bit difficult to do on some of these lots, but we figured with the smallest house in our neighborhood being around 2,400 square foot, if we built anything smaller than that, it would cause a grief on everybody else in the neighborhood with their property values. Where this house sits and the magnitude of this marina, I don't know if y'all drove out and saw it, but with the appearance of this and the money that's invested in what its purpose is for, a big house needs to be there. When you come in on the road with his 10-foot variance to move the house up, you'll never notice it for the rest of the houses the way the road makes the curve. With the home being bigger, it's going to help keep the neighbors pleased. It's going to help keep the property values where they need to be. And then you have a wetland issue in the back. When we came in, that, like I said, this was an entire canal that ran behind all these lots, which I know shortened these lots to about 100 foot instead of 150. This is the only lot that has that extra 35, 40 feet on the back that is actually wetlands that has to keep him off of it. It would be nice to keep him, the Corps of Engineers, it's not written, but they like for you to stay 25, 30, 40 feet off that wetland mark. With this variance, he's able to do that, and I know that everybody in the neighborhood's going to be pleased. And it's not going to be, you're not going to have zigzag houses going down the street. And the wetland mark is further back on the other lots, so you won't have that problem. And I think it'll be a good thing for the neighborhood, I really do.
Thank you, ma'am. Does anyone else wish to speak for or against this variance request? Please sign in and state your name at the podium, please.
Excuse me. My name's Gary Nugent. I'm Linnell's husband. The main reason for this house, this is more like a show place for our neighborhood. We went through all these things to make sure our neighborhood stayed nice. That's why we purchased a property, not a developer by trade, by no means. It's just I believe in trying to do something about it yourself instead of trying to depend on other people to do it. I've could have sold this lot twice already for people to want to just buy it and sit on it. This is across the street from my house. I mean, it's going to be a nice place, and it has to. If you know the difference in the prices of lots, you can't build a little bitty house on an expensive lot. You know how that kind of works. But the plans are available if you'd like to look at them. It can be a beautiful place, a private marina for the other people who own lots there. Like I said, we did got with the Corps of Engineers a 5-year deal to try to make sure our property kept its value and, you know, even out the house on the other side of the road. I showed some of the other neighbors the house plans and all, and everybody's ecstatic about it, including myself. It's just gonna be a first class place. I mean, everybody's come by, has commented on it, how nice it looked, and it's not a profitable deal on my part by no means, but it will be first class, and it's gonna be one of the nicest ones out there. One of a kind deal. You ask you to come by and take a look at it. I think you'd be impressed. And this needs to happen to justify everything the way it looks, and everybody will be happy.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to speak for or against? Can we close the public hearing?
So move.
Board members have any additional comments, concerns, or questions of the applicant?
Got a second to close.
Oh, somebody second.
Second it.
Keeping you on track now.
No comment. Do we have a motion if there's no other comment?
Motion to close.
Okay. Now I'm looking for a motion
Okay,
on the
I want
variance.
to
Oh,
make the motion.
I move that we accept the variance as requested.
Okay, go ahead. I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. William Lee to accept the variance as written, seconded by Ms. Kathy Desideer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Nay.
Nay.
We have one nay by Mr.
Two.
Jim Cecil. Sir, the
Two.
variance,
Two.
two. Two nays, Mr. Brad Walker, Mr. Jim Cecil were nays. The variance is still approved. Sorry, guys. Next item on the agenda is zoning review 2009 for Edwin and Debbie Harris, located on the west side of Delaney Road, approximately 200 foot north of LA Highway 21. It's dealing with a secondary family residence.
My name is Debbie Harris, and my daughter Kiana. She was trying to put a trailer on our property, and my mother is a heart patient, and she wanted to get close so she can help take care of her. And we just, needed to stay close as a family. She don't have any sisters or brothers or anything. We try to stay close so we can help her.
So this is for your grandmother? Your mother to live in, or your sister?
My daughter.
Your daughter?
Sister, yeah.
Do the board members have any questions of this applicant?
And this is on your property, and the only residence there currently is your...
My mother lives behind me, and she's a heart patient, and my daughter, she wanted to put a trailer on the property too.
Okay,
So
so
she
this
can-
would be a third residence? Okay. I just want to make sure that we were putting another residence.
Any other questions by board members?
Motion to open public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is open. Does anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against this variance request?
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is closed. Do the board members have any additional comments, concerns, or questions?
Yeah, looking at the photograph, aerial photograph of the property, you have a residence in front of the, or towards the main road, and then you have the two residents on the property. Where would the third residence be located at?
The ones that tie that red square is the property. That one in front by that main road is a different person's property.
Right, I understand.
But theirs is facing that little road right
Right,
there.
you got a little road in
Delaney
front.
Road.
Right.
You're gonna put a third
Yeah,
mobile
that's what I'm
home.
talking
Third one
about.
within the
One,
red
two.
section.
Right,
So there's only two that I see.
I know. I'm asking where the third one's
Where
gonna
on
be.
there are they going to put
Okay.
third?
I thought he was saying there was four, counting those two in the front. So that's why.
Just doesn't look like a room for a third.
I'm sorry, what's that, say again, please?
For that property by the highway, it's gonna be over there, to that side.
Excuse me, sir, can you come draw it for me?
He was talking about this side, this side.
I have a question.
Right here? Okay.
Was there a variance given on the second residence?
No,
or
ma'am,
was
all
it
those were,
grandfathered?
yes, ma'am, all those are non-conforming. Yes, ma'am, they were grandfathered. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
My house here is gonna be 25, 30 feet away from my house.
Where?
Like that.
Okay.
Just make sure
That-
that's
that-
drawn in.
Okay, my questions would be going along the line of, if something happens to, is your grandmother or is it your mother?
My mother.
Your mother. Okay, if something happens to your mother, what is the plan for where your mother is living?
Well, my mother lives behind me,
Right.
and I help take care of her, and my daughter, she's in the kitchen and trying to.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is we always try to avoid rental properties, okay? So, and I know if something happens to your mother, you're still gonna want your daughter to stay next door to you, correct? Okay, so I guess what I'm asking about, and I don't know if we can legally do it or not, since the grandmother's home is already there, but would you have an objection if we put in there that neither of the secondary residences can become rental property?
We do have a third child. He's grown too, but he lives with us.
But that would not.
That would not constitute rental property.
Is renting it to someone else. Okay. Yeah, that's what we're trying to avoid, is situations.
Because if anything was to happen to her mother, that third child would be living there.
Okay,
I
okay.
mean,
Okay.
but he's still
Make
live
motion.
with us, so he would be living there.
Have we closed public hearing
Won't be
yet?
no rent.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make a motion then that we approve this with the stipulation that none of the secondary residences become rental property.
I second that motion.
Okay, well, motion by Ms. Kathy Desideer that this be approved with condition that none of the secondaries become a rental property, and this was seconded by Mr. Tyler Goo. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, like sign. Sir, the variance is granted, ma'am.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second
Second.
that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.